you're watching the news.
The US is fighting a war in Iran.
Oil prices surging after the attack.
Tens of thousands of flights canceled.
And somewhere between the third and the fourth headline,
Are we headed to World War III?
you close the tab on that flight you always wanted to book. I know, man, because I did the same thing. But here's the thing. There's actually never been a calm period in the world. There's been the Cold War, COVID-19, crazy recessions, 9/11. There's always something going on. I actually stopped traveling for a year during COVID because it felt impossible because the world was stopping and there was a curfew in my home country and we were locked inside. Plus, that was the normal thing to do. You see, I was actually working as a videographer for a travel agency who would fly me out to different countries to go and film all of their different hotels. Like, amazing job. Then COVID happened, the travel industry completely halted because nobody was allowed to travel, and so there were massive layoffs in the travel industry. And amongst these massive layoffs, there was me. I lost my dream job, ending up being stuck for a whole year in Belgium. So that's the exact moment that I decided to start freelancing, and I had another decision to make. Do I travel to the other side of the world, Mexico specifically, and try building this remote life? Or do I stay here in Belgium in the cold and be depressed for the rest of my life? Now you guess which decision I made. There's always going to be a reason for you not to take the trip. So the choice is yours. In case you didn't know, the news isn't reporting the world as it is. It is reporting the worst 1% of the world 24/7. Now, I don't want to go on like a whole rant about that traditional media is corrupting your brain or anything like that. But when you are traveling and living remotely, the actual risk, like the real actual risk of you being affected by one of these danger zones, like personally affected, is statistically basically 0%, because obviously you're not gonna fly straight into a war zone when it's actually happening. At this point, I've traveled to like 23 countries and I've been in some pretty dangerous headlines. For example, in 2017, I was in a massive earthquake with a magnitude of 6.7 in Kos. It was one of the worst earthquakes they had seen in the last literally 100 years. I happened to be there. I was there for 6 months. And during my stay, this massive earthquake happened. Like, it's a crazy story, maybe for a different video, but basically there was a rupture of 2 kilometers along the entire harbor. There were people who died, like actually people who died because the roofs collapsed. And personally, I was fine. Not saying that I recommend you to go to any dangerous environments, just saying that when I was there, the media portrayed it as being this very massive danger zone, which obviously it was. And even though lots of the ancient structures and buildings actually collapsed, there were only a handful of people who actually got harmed. Plus, when I was there, the main feeling that I had as I was experiencing this very dangerous and some could say traumatic experience was actually love and connection. Because what ended up happening was all the people would help one another on the streets. People would ask if you are okay. People would offer water to each other. People would offer food to each other. But instead of being in pure fear, everybody fighting for the last roll of toilet paper like happened during the COVID-19 pandemic, people actually got closer to each other. And it was overall, even though it being a very dangerous experience, it was a very heartwarming and connecting human experience. But what I took away from this experience is that the headlines are always making it sound worse than it actually is. So here's what I wish people told me sooner. The way your brain works, and again, I'm talking from first-hand experience, is you worry about something going on in the world and you tell yourself, I'll do it when things get better. And then things either don't get better or they do get better and something new pops up, and so you tell yourself again, I'll go when things get better. And then the cycle obviously repeats. You see, every time I'm in a moment where I'm not really sure what to do or if it's like worth the risk or I should do this or not, I think I heard this on the Joe Rogan podcast at one point, then I imagine myself in my current situation as if this would be a movie and I'm in a movie theater watching the movie of my life. Now, what would the voice inside of my own head be screaming to the main character? And then I ask myself the question, am I doing what I would be screaming to myself if this was an actual movie? And if the answer is no, I adjust my behavior. I have this old friend of mine. We met each other when we were 8 years old and we grew up together. We fantasized about traveling the world and making photos and cool videos and having an awesome lifestyle. And so once I graduated, I started taking action towards those goals, even though things weren't perfect. I didn't have the money, I didn't have the skills, I didn't know what to do. I took action anyways. Now, on the other hand, my childhood friend, he said he was going to wait until the conditions got better. Life got better, he had a little bit of savings, he had a more stable job, or he had a better laptop. There was always something. Now fast forward 10 years, guess what happened to my friend who was waiting for conditions to get better? They didn't. And he's still in the same situation, living in the same place, same vices, same friends, and the same dreams. So waiting feels like preparation, but it's not. It's just another longer version of doing nothing. I know this sounds cliche, but the older you get, the more responsibilities you're gonna get. You're gonna get a car loan, a dog, maybe a lease on an apartment, a girlfriend, maybe marriage, kids. All these things are gonna make it harder for you to travel in the future. I'm 29 now, and at 18, I had no commitments. At 23, I got myself a car loan, making it harder for me to travel because I had a down payment on the car. At 25, I took a bank loan because I needed some money. Again, making it more difficult for me to travel because I now had the responsibility to pay back the car and the bank loan. And these are just two examples. There's actually a whole bunch more that just add up as you keep getting older and older, making it harder for you to actually travel. It's not like the window of opportunity just like shuts down overnight and it's never going to be possible for you to travel again. It's more like it slowly creeps shut and you don't really see it moving, but every night it gets like a little more shut, little more shut, little more shut, and before you know it, there's no window of opportunity for you anymore. And like with everything, the best moment for you to start was actually 6 months ago. Now, I'm not saying this to like scare you or anything. It's more like a wake-up call, because the second best time to actually start is right now. Now, I'm not saying you need to quit your life today, book a one-way flight ticket to Bangkok and kiss your parents goodbye for the rest of their life. But maybe, just maybe, you could consider going on a trip for a couple of weeks and try out whether or not you video editing in a really cool place full of people that actually inspire you, that are on the same mission like you, is something that actually generates a happier life for you. The first trip I took was actually a 2-month trip to the north of France. It's not even that exotic or that far. I was 17 at the time and I tried it for a couple of weeks and obviously I loved it. The next trip I took was slightly longer. It was a road trip. The one after that was slightly longer and slightly longer and slightly longer. And for each next trip, the time between me arriving back in Belgium, my home country, and me leaving again to the next trip got shorter and shorter and shorter until I built this remote life for myself. The first time I felt like a true Wi-Fi cowboy was when I actually paid cash rent for the next 6 months in Bali, cash to my landlord. It felt like I was doing a drug deal or something, like the pile of money was so big because the inflation is so skewed. That's the first time I truly felt like I was living this remote life, because I had paid the rent for the next couple of months and the only thing I had to worry about was me getting food in that location. And that feeling is honestly one of the best feelings I've ever had in my life, and I wish you the same. So you don't just cold turkey into this life and never look back, in the same way that when you climb a mountain, you take one step at a time, then the next step, then the next step, and if you repeat that process a couple of times, all of a sudden you're at this amazing viewpoint. So the war, Bitcoin collapsing, fuel prices skyrocketing, none of this is going away. There's always going to be something, a reason for you not to chase your dreams. So the choice is yours. Are you gonna wait for things to get perfect for you to finally live the life you've always wanted to live and look back on today, 6 months from now, wishing you had started taking action now? Or are you actually gonna do something and see if there's maybe one small step you can take which brings you closer to the dream life you actually deserve? So if you are a video editor, you're working with a couple of clients and you're not really sure what that next step for you could be, click the link in the description and I will personally hop on a free one-on-one consultancy call with you where we go over your exact situation, what clients you're working with, what your values are, what is important for you in a destination, and lay out the exact roadmap for you to finally start living your dream life. Click the link in the description. That's all for this video. Peace out.